least, I'm not cooking on something that looks like a tanning bed for pig parts. Weezer grilled his meat on a weird rig that looked like a hot water heater sawed in half. At least I'm not cooking bugs wrapped in seaweed, Weezer shot back. We'll see who gets the longer lines. I had a feeling they'd been going at it all morning. The other businesses in the semicircle were the town ice cream parlor and the Busman's Harbor Bakery, which at this time of year was selling pretty much anything on earth that could be made with blueberries. The owners went quietly about their business, ignoring Sonny and Weezer. What a glorious morning! Rochelle Rose touched my arm to get my attention. She was a tour guide, a decade or so older than my 30 years. Tall and Amazon glamorous, she had breathtaking dark blue eyes and the kind of white blonde hair most people lost after childhood. Everything seemed under control in the Clambake area, so we moved away from the noise of the crowd to a spot at the edge of the pier where we could talk. I stood on the cement curb so we'd be face to face. Thanks for being so flexible. Glad we could work it out. Normally, Rochelle would have brought her busload of tourists out to our island, providing them with a scenic harbor cruise as well as a meal. To accommodate Founders Weekend, she'd agreed we could feed her clients on the pier. Though they'd miss the cruise and seeing the island, they'd get the benefit of all the Founders Weekend activities. The Windjammer Parade and lobster boat races, the art show and concert, and finally, a gigantic fireworks display, before they were loaded onto their bus and driven on to their next hotel up the coast in Camden. How is this group? I asked. She rolled her eyes. Shop-aholics. She'd cheap-herded her charges through the outlet stores in Freeport before they'd even arrived in Busman's Harbor that morning. Rochelle had an expansive knowledge on all things Maine: history, geography, flora and fauna on land and at sea. Though she kept a smile on her face, I knew it drove her crazy when she had a group who only wanted to see the inside of a mall. As we chatted, I gazed at the ring of buildings that backed onto the pier. With all the people milling around, I couldn't see much, but I could look up. Sometimes being short gave me an interesting perspective. Up on a top-floor balcony at the Lighthouse Inn, a broad-shouldered man shot photos through a lens as long as a spyglass. Another camera with a shorter but still impressive lens sat on a tripod next to him. Most of the balconies were occupied by folks enjoying the festivities on the pier. Well, maybe not so much enjoying as recording. Every person up there observed the pier through some sort of device: phone, camera, tablet, computer, as if documenting the scene was more important than being part of it. Who's that working the clambake with Sonny and Livy? Rochelle asked. Cabe Stone. He's new. I hired him at the end of June. Seems like a good worker. He's terrific, I assured her. Don't worry, your customers are going to be thrilled with their meals, even though we're cooking them on that thing. I pointed at the Claminator and Rochelle laughed. In front of the makeshift stage, our high school band began an enthusiastic, if only moderately on-key and on-tempo rendition of You're a Grand Old Flag. Fee Snuggs, my 74-year-old neighbor, puffed out her cheeks and blew into her slide trombone. Busman's Harbor High wasn't big, so once you were in its marching band, you didn't get out until you moved away or died. Across the way, Bunny Getz, the chair of the Founders Weekend Committee, finished an emphatic conversation and hurried toward me. 10 minutes, Julia, Bunny called over the noise. As soon as the band stops, I'll give a little history of the town, and then I'll introduce the committee. Make sure you're up at the front so we don't have to wait for you. I nodded to show I understood, and she went on without taking a breath. Have you seen